Welcome to Kump. We are looking at a cargo ship that has crashed into a backyard somewhere in Norway. A horrific sight, if I've ever seen one. It's a strange, you wake up one morning and all of a sudden a ship carrying, I don't know, a bunch of Q-tips and garbage and Nintendo Switch 2s crashes into your kid's jungle gym or whatever you have in your backyard. And you would think this is one of the most horrific things you've ever seen. Can you imagine? You'd lose your mind if this happened. And also, people have been kind of implying that maybe I'm being too negative lately with the news, that I'm drumming up, that somehow this is, my narrative is too dark. Well, you know what? You want to hear it's dark? This guy, this homeowner, what do you think his reaction is?
I would be, I would be upset if some ship in the, what is this, the North Sea?
I don't know what seas are. The homeowner expressed excitement, not alarm, saying it's the best thing that's ever happened on this street. That's how bleak we've gotten now. That's how bleak the world is. That's how freezing the anonymity of the modern world has become. That you hope for a cargo ship to crash into your backyard. What is this? This is a video. What is this guy saying? The cargo ship that nearly hit a home in Norway has been refloated. So they got it out of the backyard. The owner of the home says he's embraced the experience. He's embraced the experience.
I doubt I'll ever experience anything quite like this again. I wouldn't have traded this experience for anything.
For anything.
I wish more people
I don't care.
Experience
I don't. That's enough. What else could you say after that? What else could you say after I wouldn't trade the experience of a home almost destroyed by a cargo ship? This is the greatest thing we've ever seen.
To be fair, though, Red, this is in Norway, right? Like, this is not like some exciting city like the city we live in, where we can just go to the M&M store whenever we want.
Sure, go.
And just have an amazing, life-changing experience.
Well, you say that as if we don't risk being maimed every time we do. I mean, you can do whatever you want. We can go.
That's part of the experience. That's part of the fun.
I could also go to Gaza. I mean,
in Norway, how many people does this guy even see on a regular basis?
But they like that. That's the whole thing. Countries used to matter. Norway used to like being Norway. Mm-hmm. Norway was fine with it. They have fjords and they have beautiful water and grass and green things. I don't know what happens there. Are they Flemish? Who knows? Mm-hmm. I don't know anything about Norway. They're quiet people. There are people who don't really put themselves forward. I know a little bit about it. I lied. I mean, but they do. They don't have like big comedy. I knew a guy who did comedy. They're very funny. Who's like Daniel Simonson? Is he Norwegian?
Oh, yeah.
Very funny guy.
Very funny guy.
But he told me, a lot of people there. The default thing for Norwegians is they don't put them. What do? You gonna be famous? They don't want that. That was the whole default thing. It's what made them Norwegian.
Right.
It's like no. Why would I be in public? Why would people know me? And now they're just happy. That's what the world's becoming. We're destroying the natural order of things. Mm-hmm. Everyone wants, even in Norway, people have to go viral now. But just please crash something into my house. Please. A cargo ship, a missile. I wouldn't trade this for anything.
I wouldn't trade this for... My wife left us last year after a long battle with cancer, but I wouldn't trade this for her life. I wouldn't trade this for my own life.
Would you want to maybe wish for her to come back to life? Well, would she be able to see the cargo ship crash into the house? Look at this guy. This guy's not like a 19-year-old influencer.
No.
This guy's like like a stoic fisherman, mm-hmm. And he's just like, please destroy my life. Now, it all worked out, but I mean, that doesn't matter. He didn't say, hey, take things as they come. Mm-hmm. Hey, it's no big deal. I'm just glad no one's hurt.
Well, you know, Scandinavians stereotypically they're humble people. They don't want to. He probably doesn't want to embarrass the cargo ship captain.
Well, no.
But
Well, that's what I'm saying.
This piece of shit.
Right.
Crashed into my house.
Right. What I'm saying here is that it's not so much that he didn't want to embarrass the guy. It's that he said I wouldn't trade this for the birth of my child. I would take this over world peace. I would take this over, just being, content in my life, finding fulfillment. Mm-hmm. Just let the horror happen to me. That's what people just come to. You have to accept that things are just like the worst things you can imagine are now just experiences. Mm. It's just and look, I guess that's what Norway, that's the beauty of a place like Norway.
Right.
Because I'm sitting here going, this is horrible. And they're like, no, this is great now. They've adapted. They evolve. Mm-hmm. They evolve to the horror of the world. And so in Norway, it's like, no, this is actually the best thing you could have possibly. Welcome to Kump. Welcome to the show. Before we go any further, please subscribe to the show if you could. It doesn't take anything for you to do that. It's actually the greatest thing that's ever happened to you, subscribing to the show. Right?
Absolutely.
That's the greatest thing. You wouldn't trade subscribing to the show to get your wife out of prison. You wouldn't. You leave her in prison if you had a chance to subscribe to the show, and you do have the chance. And while you're there, patreon.com/ratekump. If you like what you hear here, but you wish you had a little more raw, nasty business. Well, we're allowed to do that on patreon.com. where you get an extra episode every week, uncensored. It's like $5 a month. It's crazy. And it's just, so we go and we say everything. Everything there. We had a great Memorial Day episode. Very raunchy, if I say so myself. Very raunchy. No, but it was really, it's like, it was, we said a lot of things in the first 10 minutes that are probably we have our channel removed.
Oh,
from
yeah.
YouTube. I'm not trying to exaggerate. You be the judge. I don't know. You tell me if you think I could put this stuff on YouTube. I'm pretty sure I'm already on warning lists. So whatever. But glad everyone's. I think the guy fell asleep at the wheel. This cargo ship guy, by the way.
Really? That's how he crashed?
So. I think that's what? That's good for him, you said?
That's how he crashed?
Yeah. Well, the pilot, not the.
I could see that. I could see falling asleep if I was the captain of a cargo ship. Like, yeah. I mean, the way some people get seasick. Sure. The way a ship moves through water is just very calming to me.
Right.
It's just like it's just a little light bounce.
You think a cargo?
I just want to take a nap.
What experience do you have on boats?
I went on a cruise once.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Where to?
Bermuda.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know this about you. Who took you to Bermuda? Was it some other man?
It was a trip with Mother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's nice.
Mother and I went to Bermuda and saw the white sands of Bermuda. It was great.
Yeah, no, that's
and then I've been on a couple of boats here and there.
Yeah, I these cargo ships are like the size of Delaware. These are very big ships, so I'm not sure if it translates, but maybe it does. I've been on a ferry. I ferried across the Long Island Sound to Connecticut. I feel like I didn't seem that. I guess it's calming enough. I guess you're right. I've crashed head on into a car full of federal agents before. People know this story. Some people know this story. Mm-hmm. Well, I fell asleep at the wheel. Wasn't drunk. Wasn't anything. I was totally. I blew a clean breathalyzer, but I just fell asleep at the wheel and crashed into a car full of federal agents. What are you gonna do? That's life. That's actually the best thing that's ever happened to them. And I bet if I talked to them, the only time I ever talked to them was they put their hands on their guns and started screaming at me like, "Stay in your car! Stay in your car!" And I did. And they drove away. I don't know. It was very weird.
Oh, so they didn't try to get you for anything? Like they just wanted to get the hell out of there?
Well, the cops came. I think maybe they stayed until the cops came, like the regular cops, because they seemed to be on their way to the airport for some reason in some very strange way. Mm. I probably crashed into two Well, who can say? I don't want to accuse anyone of corruption.
Based on where you were, can you take any guess at what they might have been doing?
I mean, they're federal agents. They could be involved in anything in the federal jurisdiction. Mm-hmm. They could have been involved in. It could have been Iran-Contra for. I mean, it was a little late for that. They could have been involved in the in what happened? What was it, around 2015, 14? Maybe they were involved in the early Ukraine stuff. Who knows? I'm not even sure if they were federal. I forget. I think they were. They seemed like it.
So they just yelled, "Stay in the car, stay in the car," and they ran away.
Yeah, they waited for like the regular beat cops to come, and then go, and they probably assumed I would go into the drunk tank and like pay my penance. But I ended up just like they were like, well, you can go. Like, and the cop was like, do you have like a mechanic? Because the car was totaled, my car. Like, do you have a car like a mechanic you want us to tow this to? I'm like, this is me in my life. It's just like. Well, I don't really have like a regular mechanic around here. And he's like, all right, what? Well, I mean, what should I do? He's like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I shouldn't tow it back to my house, should I? Like, just get out of here, dude. I'm like, all right. So I towed it back to my apartment. I was renting in a basement apartment at the time, and I towed it there. It was like 3 a.m. And I had a wedding to shoot, and I was doing photography at the time. I was photographing a wedding the next day, and so it was like 3 or 4 a.m. By the time I had him tow it back like, to the front. I mean, the totaled car, and had him tow it in front of this guy's house that I lived at. And like I wake up at like 6 a.m. to the guy screaming, "What the hell have you done to my? Why would you tow a total car to my house?" He was so mad. I just started screaming at him, threatening him. I'm like, "Shut your mouth! This is the new reality. This is our life now. This is an experience. This is the best thing that's ever happened to you. Don't you see that? You wouldn't trade this for anything." But I ended up, so whatever. I shot at the wedding. I was covered in blood the whole time. I mean, I did start bleeding in the middle of the wedding at some point.
Really? Wait. So, like, from wounds?
I had some wounds on my legs. I forgot. I didn't realize at first. My boss, like,
you just left some car crash wounds untended?
Well, I mean,
overnight.
Basically, I mean, I didn't realize my legs were all screwed up.
Was there glass in there? Car crash wounds are bad.
Well, it wasn't arterial wounds. It was just it was minor scrapes and scuffles, I guess. At the end of the day, either way, it was the best thing that ever happened to me. And then eventually, a couple of days later, I put it on Craigslist, and then some immigrants came. I don't know which country they were from, but they came with like some. I've never seen it before. Like apparently you can just like these. It was like a piece of wood with wheels on it. They just put it on the back of my car, and they just like towed it with another car, which I didn't know you could do. They always they do have ingenious little methods sometimes.
Right.
Various immigrants, they're good at things. They could have just like, yeah, we'll take this and we'll use it for something. I don't know what they did with it. I got like $200. And that was a car I bought like new, probably 7 years.
This was the best day in a lot of people's lives.
Best day of everyone's life. Yeah. That was VE day for everyone. Anyone know what that means anymore? VE day.
What is VE day?
Victory in Europe Day.
Oh, okay.
Isn't that when the guy smooched the girl in the middle of Times Square?
I thought that was our V Day. Like, are there different V days?
Well, victory in Europe doesn't mean victory like Europe's victory. It means victory in Europe because it's VJ Day.
I just thought our thing was usually called V Day.
No, it's VJ Day and VE Day. God, this whole country. We need a cargo ship crashing in this apartment right now. That's what we need.
Did you ever hear about that whole like revisitation of that like iconic image, the kiss in Times Square or whatever?
Do you want to pull it up so we can as we discuss it? Let's put it at the end of the tabs. Look, apparently the guy grabbed some nurse and said, "Get over here." Yeah, make that bigger so people can see it. People get excited. It's the greatest day of her life. Whatever. This is fine. This is.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the iconic. I mean, everyone knows. It's
an amazing photo.
Yeah, some friggin' sailor or some fake sailor, some stowaway. Stolen
valor sailor.
Yeah. What's he doing here already? We just won the war. What's he doing here in his uniform already? I thought. I mean, is this a parade? I thought this was a day. I thought this was like they announced it in Times Square, and then he just grabbed some some nurse. I mean, either way.
What's funny is that like nobody else like they describe it as this day where everybody was just going wild.
Yeah.
But everybody in the background actually seems to be acting normal.
Yeah, he's just get over here, toots. Time for an experience. I mean, she does seem to be kind of. I mean, you're a woman.
Yeah.
As a man, I'll venture. Call me a misogynist. She seems to be enjoying it.
I mean, we can't really see her face.
Right, but I mean, is there body language? I mean, look, let me finish. The body language to me seems to imply a certain level of enjoyment, but is it possible, as a woman, you can comment on this, if she's more just going limp in a kind of, self-defense kind of method? Like, kind of like we play possum almost.
Well, look, I'm a woman, but I'm not a body language expert, and neither is anyone else.
Right.
I can't really tell. I mean, the way the woman described it, like the reason it got like controversial for a while, is because like the woman, she was a little bit non-committal about it.
Yeah.
But she basically described it like less enthusiastically than you would expect her to. Like she was kind of like, yeah, I was just there, and he grabbed me, and it was weird.
So they didn't get married after this.
Yeah.
She probably was married. And she's just like, but her husband was probably just some accountant. And like, she's like, well, he's a sailor, mate. I'm sorry. Yeah. And he's like, I can't believe you embarrassed me.
Oh yeah. Oh my God. If she's married, her husband is just permanently.
Oh no.
Forever.
If she's married, I mean, if this was my wife, I wouldn't have a wife anymore. I mean, I would divorce her. I mean. Look. Because if some guy ever does that to you, if we go into a massive war and some guy tries to do that to you, I know, but you better be slapping him.
Yeah.
You can't. You're not allowed to and you can't say to me, well, I did slap him right after this. You have to know pictures happen, so you have to immediately. If someone goes to kiss you, you'd be smacked. I'd rather you smack me every time I kiss you, as a false move.
Just to practice.
Yeah, didn't have that happen to me.
But then I'll be the national villain slapping some guy who's finally released from the horrors of war. I mean,
I don't care if he just got out of Birkenau. I mean, you don't let him see. You're my wife.
You're not the nation's wife,
right? Yeah. You're not Lady Liberty. So that's very strange. So that's what America used to be. Just something great where things happen to you. You never knew. Why did this come up? Because is this being relitigated?
Yeah. Like I was gonna pull up. There was some.
See, VJ. It's on VJ Day. I thought it was VE Day.
It says here like the woman Greta Zimmer Friedman.
Yeah.
The woman being kissed by the sailor said the kiss was non-consensual, but it's a little bit more complicated than that. Like she wasn't like necessarily mad about it.
Well, yeah. I mean, look, we've taken non-consensual to a point of like it's the very best case your career is over. Mm-hmm. No, I'm not saying it shouldn't. Whatever. I mean, if Bill Murray can't kiss Naomi Watts through a mask as a joke without shutting down the movie, I don't know if some weird sailor who knows what country he's even working for. Is he even an American sailor? Whatever. I don't know if he should be allowed to grab her.
She's getting groped by some German sailor.
Right.
He's there for some reason.
Immediately when I put in the brig. Whatever. Look, I mean, but she probably just meant no, I didn't participate.
Right.
I let it happen.
Yeah, she's also like a woman from that time. She can't be like, oh yeah, I was there trying to get laid.
Yeah.
She's not gonna be so explicit. Even
why do you think I was in Times Square in a nurse's outfit?
Yeah.
You see a lot of doctors in Times Square. You see a lot of hospitals in Times Square next to the bubblegum shrimp. What do you think I'm doing here? I was at the Applebee's, just having a few margaritas, trying to get something going. But yeah, so the time. Those times are over. We're never gonna have that. It's never gonna be that good again in history.
Right.
That's the best case scenario for wartime smooches. You know what I mean? Speaking of war, what? It's a nice transition. I think it's a nice transition.
There are way more evil wartime smooches you could get.
Yeah. Let's hope they stay smooches, if you know what I mean.
Smooching as a weapon of war is actually a big problem in this world.
Yeah, I mean, let's not push the boundaries here on YouTube.
Yeah.
Putin issues conditions for ending war in Ukraine. This is nice. I mean, because for the past couple of weeks or months, I don't know, people have been saying, because President Trump ran on kind of a position of let's end these wars, right?
Right.
Yeah, but it doesn't seem like that's happening.
No.
And I don't even know what. It's funny. I was just saying the other day, I'm not even sure what Putin wants. So now he's made it clear for us, which is very good. Russian President Vladimir Putin has outlined his conditions for ending the war in Ukraine, demanding significant concessions from Kiev and its Western allies. Western allies? Why do we got to do anything? Well, I mean, he better be asking anything from us. Like, I'll abandon Ukraine. I don't care. But, like, don't ask me, like, ponying up money. That's crazy. These include Ukraine's formal abandonment of NATO aspirations. Yeah, that goes without saying, I feel like. I mean, there's no way you cannot let a country being bombed into NATO. It's just stupid.
So they have to sign like a piece of paper saying we'll never be part of NATO.
I don't want them in NATO. No, and he shouldn't. Look, he's right to not want a country in NATO next to him. Would we be cool if like Mexico was like, yeah, we're signing a friggin', we're joining the Russian Federation?
Yeah,
we'd be like, what are you talking about? Don't do that. That's weird. Why are you joining? You're right next to us. Why are you joining the Russians? That seems odd, doesn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see that too.
I'm just saying. I'm not Putin's. I'm not the one getting money from Putin here. Go ask the other bald guy.
Recognition of Russian annexation of Ukrainian territories.
Wait, was this Western what?
Recognition of Russian annexation of Ukrainian territories.
Like what?
I guess Donbass.
Donsk, Luhansk, Kherson, and look, just take the whole country. I don't care. Take the part you said. Here's what we should do. The part that you said was Russia, right? That they wanted. That everyone supposedly everyone in Ukraine was torturing those people because they're Russians.
Right.
Let them have that. They're bombing a lot. What do you want me to do? Let's just end the war. This war is not good for anyone. It's been going on for years. I don't know what the goal is. Zelensky is just trying to stay on the air like it's like a sitcom. He's like, and he won't even, look, you should have worn a suit to the White House. You really screwed up there. I know it doesn't seem like that was the biggest deal, but it was. Stop trying to pretend you're G.I. Joe when you're a sitcom actor who's just letting your country get bombed for 3 years. Stop it. Enough. No one's taking this seriously. You're telling me he's taking this seriously, pretending like he's a special forces soldier? Mm. The guy did the only training he has is from the groundlings. You know? What are we talking about? Putin insists that these terms are prerequisites for initiating. Oh, it's a prerequisite. I mean, we better not give him Alaska. I will not be excited about that. I love Alaska. I would love to go see a Kodiak bear.
Oh, yeah.
In Alaska. They have those up there, or is it just grizzlies?
They got a whole... Isn't Kodiak Island full of Kodiak bears?
Is that in Alaska?
Yeah.
Sounds good. So why would Grizzly Man up there, then? Is grizzlies and Kodiaks? Everyone's so full of it. Ukrainian President Zelensky has rejected Putin's conditions. It's not really up to him, is it? It's really up to us. He can't fight the war without us, right? Or was Poland going to give him a bunch of missiles? So was that the deal? Let's let Poland do it. Why are we doing this? We got our own problems here. We got a lot of TikTok stars and Twitch people getting in trouble and we got football players. I'm not even getting into these stories. These are stories I rejected this week. There's just all sorts of mayhem. I don't think we have time to be dealing with Ukraine. How about we take some of the money we were spending on Ukraine and we give it to who needs money here? Poor people. Right?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I kind of agree with that.
Don't we have poor people in America? Why are we worrying about whether, this is like kings. Do you think people in Ukraine care if they're part of Russia or not? What are they doing?
Yeah, some of them seem to want to be.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I barely care. Like, here's a message to the rest of the world. The U.S. happens to be on top right now as far as the geopolitical structure. You could definitely argue, if you're against that it's not as sound as it used to be. Fair enough, right? But I'm saying, when you're like the top dog, and I'm just a guy who's part of it, whatever. Will it be a culture shock if all of a sudden I have to like kind of not be proud of my country because we're getting conquered all the time? Yeah, I guess. But at the end of the day, what's it really make a difference? Were the people in Iraq? I get that Saddam wasn't good, but like were the people after the bombing and then the rise of ISIL or ISIS or whatever, and then the insurgencies and the wars and the bombings. I mean, was their quality of life improved by the war? I don't think it was. And what about Ukraine? Are people better off now than they were? I mean, what do you think? Russia's gonna turn Kiev into is gonna call it Little Moscow? Who cares if they do? Like just do your thing. People in Norway's fine, and people are happy to have a cargo ship crash into them. What are you people worried about? It just seems like a very odd thing. Yes, America would have a culture shock if we had to be conquered. But I mean, I'm sorry. You should have been a stronger force in the world. What do you want me to do about it?
Yeah.
How about we don't let our people get bombed anymore for a while? 3 years, you had a good run. 3 years.
Maybe we should split it in half. Make it 2 different countries.
What?
And then the one that's kind of in the Donbass region can be basically part of Russia.
Called Little Ukraine.
But they can each get their they can each have their little moment in the sun.
Yeah.
They can both act like they're being independent countries.
Kind of like North Korea and South Korea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then that solves everything.
How about we just divvy? That's a good idea. We divvy up the countries again. The little countries, the countries that aren't in charge, because you have you have America and you have China, the top 2 dogs, right? And then you have Russia, maybe it's on its own tier, right? And then below that you have Britain or UK, whatever, and France, right? And some other things. Help me out. Talk to me.
Right? Yeah.
Wait.
Europe.
Well, in general, I'm trying to figure out the war. I mean, the hierarchy of the planet.
Oh, okay. Got it.
And then those are the forces that control things, right?
Right.
Okay, so the rest of them we divvy up again. So there's 5, instead of 2 Koreas, there's 6 Koreas. And then instead of
I feel like a lot of problems could be solved that way, it's just keep making them smaller and smaller. Every time people have a fight, just go, whoever wants to be here, go here.
I'll give you blue Sweden and yellow Sweden, but I'm keeping red and green. Mm-hmm. All right, so you get blue and yellow Sweden. What else we got here? We got, can I interest you in a tall Iceland? Short Iceland we gotta keep because that's where those rock, what do they call that stuff? The geothermic stuff.
Mm-hmm. The hot springs.
Yeah, but it might be some mountains in Iceland, very small ones. But you call them tall. You call it tall Iceland.
Oh wait, no, I'm thinking someone else.
No, the hot springs are basically it's hot. It's hot something. Yeah, it's geothermic. They use it to power things. I'm just saying, America. If you were doing it to America, but which you can't because we're top dogs right now. But if we get knocked in 20 years, let's see what happens. But let's just use America as an example. So you'd have the Rockies would be a country because that's something you could sell off to people, and then Florida would be a country, and then what's another thing? The Pacific Coast Highway would be a country by itself. Just a whole coast. Not California. If you were smart, you go, well, no one really cares about the Mojave Desert that much. Mm-hmm. You'd have the Pacific Coast Highway, Oxnard's there. They grow the fruit. That's what I'm saying. You divide things up into things you could sell.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good idea. It seems like at this point we should be able to simulate where everybody really truly belongs, right? You should be able to go into should be able to go into some kind of simulation, and be and basically determine are you a desert person,
right?
Are you a spring person?
There's plenty.
Do you want to be right on the ocean?
There's plenty of people who belong.
There's got to be a way to divide this by preference.
People who live on the ocean tend to have a vibe. It's not always the best vibe. They're very pleasant. They're very carefree. They're not always the most alert. Mm-hmm. But whatever, it goes to the territory. People in the desert have a whole different vibe. I agree with you.
Yeah.
People who drive in the desert. I mean, we could put you in the desert, you can die in a day. But people who drive in the desert have a certain vibe. Mm-hmm. And same thing with the East Coast and the marshes and the swamps and the mountains. Yes, and I feel like
a lot of like our discontents, like I feel like a lot of the stuff that's happening with Israel, it's just that like Jewish people don't really want to be there in the desert.
Interesting.
You know,
they get cranky.
They get cranky.
That's an interesting thought. You know, like because people go, why? I mean, because they're tied into the whole Bible thing.
Right. Exactly. It's all based on the Bible.
That's not a bad suggestion. That's an interesting idea. I feel like that area used to be nicer. Mm-hmm. I feel like back in the Bible times, something happened with the mini ice age or something, and like it used to be less of a desert. They describe it as a more like that area is more of a fertile crescent, but it seems very. I know there's some like nice parts of Israel, but a lot of it just seems very like just hot,
right,
and dry.
They're trying to shoehorn themselves in there.
They have that river or whatever that's just so full of salt that you just can't even swim and just float on top of it. That's not ideal. That can't be the ideal situation. Also, it's like you get to a place like Jerusalem or whatever, and like look, it's nice to have it back, I guess, right? Mm-hmm. But also, you can't just build an Arby's there. Or you can't just build a what do you call it? Like a Subway,
right? You
can't just build a. Give me some other things you would like. A Pret-a-Manger.
What's a Pret-a-Manger?
That's the thing they have in New York. If you go to Manhattan, which I know some of you everyone listening to the show has been to Manhattan. If you ever go there, you'll see something called Pret-a-Manger or something. I can't. They pretend to be French. It's just like it's basically like the Hudson News of restaurants. You've never seen this?
I've never.
Yes, you have. They're everywhere. We've been to them before.
Oh, wait. Yeah, I think I know
How
what
would
you're
you
talking
say
about.
it?
That's probably not the right way to say it.
What was it?
I've never actually said it out loud, but
Okay.
I think every time I see it, I just think...
Bring up a picture of this. It's a thing. It's a total thing. Pret-a-Manger. They pretend to be some foreign thing, but they're not. It's just fake. It's like everything in New York now. It's like dollar pizza. It's like a fake. You buy sandwiches for $15. They're not good. They're not like terrible, but it's not like New York sandwiches. It's just some airport food.
Everything in there tastes like it was made in the bathroom.
It's made for corporate cogs. I don't mean like people who make a lot of money. I mean people who like do data entry or like sales or I don't know what these people who work in Manhattan do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? There's so many people who have like white collar jobs supposedly, but they seem to make like $80,000 a year, and like their apartment costs $90,000. So it's like, I'm not trying to like you might make $15,000 a year, but you might live in a place where you can afford it. That's a reasonable amount of money. I mean, maybe not 15, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Split the difference. I'm just saying, whatever. Again, I'm not even saying 80s like whatever. Don't at me. I would love to make $80,000 a year. I'm just saying, like, it's just these people, they live in shoeboxes. But I don't want to hear this, though, this whole thing of like, well, why would you, because people didn't give me comments, why would anyone live in New York City? Like, no one's sitting there going, why you live in a trailer park or why you live in the desert or some whatever. I know, I'm an experienced man. I know places have different, strengths and weaknesses. You like to go hunting, you like to go fishing. There's nice things there. But the people who are there in the rat race are there for a reason. Stop pretending like there's no reason to be in the city.
Yeah, they're trying to do something here.
Right. Just relax. Stop trying to. It looks desperate. Who would want to live there? I don't know. 15 million people.
Yeah. Right. Exactly. Oh, and also, like, most people in the human population over the course of centuries.
Yeah. Look, I mean, I'm sorry that, like, because the internet exists now and you can ship things to, like, the middle of Ohio or Iowa or wherever you live. It's so great. Where you hunt buffalo. That, until recently, excuse me.
Bless you.
I'm going to die. It's the greatest thing that's ever happened to me. But it's like until recently, these places weren't. You didn't have internet. You barely got TV reception probably back in the day.
Right.
Whatever. I'm just saying, people have lived there for a while, but this idea that like I'm sorry, that all of a sudden cities are like most of the people who are saying this stuff are saying it on the internet, for instance. You're on the web. You're commenting on a YouTube channel. right? You're not exactly the whiskey rebellion guy.
And the people who are most vocal about that stuff, everybody should get out of the city.
Yeah,
they're always like choosing the most arduous lives for themselves, in the places they go to. Like it's like I could see the appeal of getting out of the city sometimes.
That's some guy.
Like, I guess, but not so I can work 15-hour days on a farm.
No, that's not even who's making that comment. That's the guy working at the gas station there who's making that comment. Why would everyone live in the city? And he's in a gas station for 15 hours. And it's fine. Everyone needs a job. And I've had jobs like that. But I wouldn't necessarily go, who would want to live like that? Anyway. What else is going on? We have... Oh, this is a new story. So every week we talk about this, and apparently there's a new development. The Elon Musk exits Trump administration amid controversy. Is this a new story?
Yeah, he's leaving. But
this is a new thing. Like apparently he's officially resigned. Cause I thought this happened. Last week. I was yelling about how he didn't the Doge, and they didn't. But apparently this is the biggest decline or whatever you call it, or just runway of leaving I've ever seen in my life. Mm-hmm. This is like that show, The Connors. Remember, did anyone else notice how The Connors every week? Because we watch Jeopardy. It's the only reason maybe you haven't seen. That's the only reason we see the ads. But we watch Jeopardy, and for literally 3 months straight, every week was the last Connors that featured Diane. Who was Diane? You mean Darlene? No, Diane.
So what, were they just killing people off every week?
I don't know. I don't watch The Connors. But apparently, people are very excited to see it go, and it just won't end. And that's how Elon Musk. He resigned. So he actually resigned from the Trump administration. He cites he wants to focus on Tesla and SpaceX and not the fact that he failed. Because he did. He talked a big game. Mm-hmm. It's always interesting to see hubris. Because you think, I don't know, you and me out there, you and me and the people who listen, I think we all are on a certain frequency. We were well, he's lying probably, but then again, why would he would know we know he's lying or talking a big game or whatever you want to call it, right? Not if he's going to talk so much smack and not follow through, that's going to be horrendous, right? They don't care though. That's what we always forget, that rich people and they don't care, and the people who own stuff, they don't care. People who do a lot of ketamine don't care. They just keep going and they keep talking and just you can't really give it the same credence that you give it to the guy telling you have cancer.
Right.
The guy telling you have cancer is a much more reliable source of information than whatever a rich guy tells you he's gonna do.
Yeah, and I mean, one of the highlights I remember from his Doge tenure,
right,
is just he removed some names from a list that were names of dead people, but people already knew they were dead people.
Right.
And they weren't it's not like the dead people were getting social security checks. Right. And they were getting cash. They were just kind of there.
And
he wrote some tweet bragging that he had
Right.
deleted the names.
And
I was okay. I mean, look, it's good to. I guess it's good to. The cleanup's good.
If he did it, but the whole vibe was babe, put a pin in it because you're gonna get some information. Just stay tuned.
Yeah.
And you're gonna see how right I was. And then we never heard another thing about it.
Right.
So what happened?
And there was a lot of people fired, and then they had to rehire them, and that.
But I think they still fired enough people, right? Enough people that it was a problem. Because they just fired random people.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I'm sure they fixed a few things accidentally. I'm sure, but in the course of just doing a lot of chaotic, shuffling and number crunching, that they fixed something.
Right.
They couldn't tell you what. Administration tech projects now facing uncertainty. Investors relieved. I don't know. I mean, honestly, would you be relieved at this point? Because I mean, the whole thing. One of the big things was that everyone, and maybe it was George Soros launching, attacks on Tesla cars. I'm not even saying it wasn't. I don't know. But either way, but I'm saying if you're one of the Tesla shareholders, and I don't mean me when I owned some Tesla at one point and sold it, I definitely lost money in the process. But the point is, It's the people who actually own a ton of it, right? That's who, like, everyone thinks they're a shareholder, but it's really like 10 guys who are shareholders because they own like 100 million each or whatever it is, a billion each.
Right.
And when those guys are like, hey, you know, this political stuff's really a problem, cut it out. It's like, do you want him back at this point? Like, those guys want him back? Is it good to have him back? Like, is he... Like, well, now he's focusing on the business. Well, you saw what focus is. Now that you've seen him take focus away and then put focus onto something else, you can kind of really extrapolate what part of the business his focus is, right?
Right.
Before it was a little more opaque. Like, people used to go, well, he didn't invent Tesla. Yeah, but he's the magic sauce, right? And now it's a little more clear. I guess you could argue, though, I mean, like, it started going bad when he left. But really not when he left. Really when he started firing people and acting like a maniac.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Just like his public image.
I mean, he never left. But you know what I mean? When he stopped, when he stopped showing up to Tesla every day.
Right.
For a while. I don't know.
I would imagine any like CEO just being absentee would be a problem. You know.
No, sure. I just wonder, like, at a certain point. I mean, no one likes the Cybertruck, right? And I'm not saying he didn't do a good job. Look, he did a good job with Tesla for a while. If I'm one of the shareholders, I'm like, maybe we just get a boring CEO for a while who like focuses on like, you know, buy for a nickel, sell for a dime, you know, buy low, sell high. It's not. We don't need.
Do people really like? Do the people who buy them hate them, or is it just us? Do we just hate seeing them?
No,
If you have a Cybertruck and you love it. Let us know why. I am curious about.
Well, no,
them.
I mean I don't have the numbers in front of me, but they're sitting on lots. People aren't buying them.
Yeah.
I mean, some people are buying them,
Right.
but a lot less than they thought would. And some of that might be the political thing. They are ugly. I mean, look. Here's the thing. I said a year and a half ago, whatever, when he bought Twitter, he started acting the way he is. It's weird. You think like the whole electric car thing tends to be a liberal thing.
Right.
And now he's going kind of conservative. Doesn't he worry about that? And people told me I was the dumbest, fattest moron you've ever seen in your life. You couldn't be a stupider person. You deserve to be in hell or just put in the ground. You dumb bastard. And it turns out I'm kind of right because the liberals have not bought them. But then the conservatives also are like, well, that's not really our thing. I mean, I'm sure a couple of them buy it to troll people. But, you know.
Yeah, I could see a conservative being attracted to the look of it, but not the.
What, the Cybertruck?
But not the.
It's not really a truck, though. You can't haul things in it. I mean, it's got some kind of bed, but it's not like you're not going to put a bunch of lumber in a Cybertruck. It would look ridiculous.
But, you know, like it looks intimidating. It looks
No,
masculine.
don't. I'm not afraid of a Cybertruck. I'm more afraid of a Volvo with like, you know, with duct tape and garbage bags on the windows. I'm not afraid of a freaking Cybertruck. But I guess as a woman, maybe you have different considerations. What do you think is the scariest car?
Honestly, I think the Cybertruck is the scariest commercial car.
I mean, I honestly, but
obviously, like a tank would be scary.
Think about the kind of person who buys a Cybertruck, though.
Yeah.
Then you still scared?
No.
No.
Well,
come on.
yeah, not.
That's what you have to go one step further.
But that's why people wrap themselves in scary cars because like they're not scary.
Yeah, so children can be afraid of them. I mean, I'm saying, like, what you think? I'm afraid of a Volvo with garbage bags? Well, you know, I'm afraid of a homeowner. You're afraid of a guy who's got nothing to lose. That's the point. I'm not afraid of a guy who spent $300,000 on a Cybertruck or whatever they cost. I mean, a Hummer might run you over easily.
Yeah, I mean, like, to your credit, I mean, isn't it minivans usually that are like kind of running over protesters or whatever? Like, are there always like? I mean, when there's some car like running over protest, isn't it always like a minivan or?
I don't know. I don't know how often does that happen. Maybe. I mean, you know, it's funny. I mean, I spent years thinking minivans were lame, and I think most people think they're kind of lame. But apparently, like, if you're a parent, they have the most storage of anything. You would think a truck. I guess it makes sense, but a minivan is really the way to go.
You gotta have a minivan.
I mean, yeah, if you want to run someone over, apparently, according to Lucie. I didn't realize the pattern there. Maybe you should work for the FBI. You see all these patterns. You like the mentalist or something. This should be the pilot. As you tracking down people in minivans. There's a bunch of women, soccer moms. You have them arrested under the Enemies and Sedition Act or whatever. Oh man. So good, you know, farewell to Musk. That's interesting. We got the Putin thing. See, I'm better with the papers this week. Last week I got a little excited with the papers, right? But I am organized now, right?
That's right.
Here we go. Here's another story. Is there a thing for this, or are we just the cognitive one? Is there a story to go with this? Or Trump shows signs of cognitive decline, says speech expert. Let's see.
Now, when I saw him in that conference with the South African president, he seemed pretty lucid there.
Yeah, he seems pretty sharp.
You know, crazy, but like lucid.
Yeah, I mean, look, the guy's always had kind of a strange vibe. I mean, but speech expert cites patterns suggesting cognitive. I mean, look, this is like those body language experts, perhaps. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, this story might have nothing to it. Where's this from, anyway? Is this from
The warning comes as Trump and his aides are seeking a congressional probe into Joe Biden's mental state during his one-term presidency.
What? Okay.
So this is a tit for tat.
Yeah, this is. I love the idea of like, hey, so like our last president was literally like, his brain. We just saw his brain's leaking out of his ears. Right. But Trump seems a little off too, right?
Yeah, maybe he had cancer the entire time. Like maybe not, but.
White House officials dismiss the suggestion is politically motivated, while medical professionals urge caution. Which medical professionals? The Surgeon General? This doesn't seem like I don't care one way or the other about, he's the president. I don't like the idea that you can start I feel like Trump, look, there's a barrier here. Mm-hmm. I feel like, people like to go tit for tat, but Biden, you have to remember, Biden was objectively shot. Right.
Oh, yeah.
Like, anyone would be like, is he all right? Trump is a maniac. But, I mean, there's a bar for a president where, you can't just... I don't like the idea of just of people trying to, what's next? Are we going to have a future where, psychologists now are going to run things because they can shut you down from the presidency? We need to tell psychologists to shut their mouths. Right. For the most part. And listening to them didn't help us with Biden, did it?
Yeah, unless you're poking into his brain and you're seeing that it's all gray and rotten.
Right, but you were not allowed. No one's allowed to.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. The only doctors who would do anything covered it up for Biden, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
So it's whatever. So no one cares about your armchair. I don't need, because then it's you're gonna be like, oh, you want to lower taxes? You must be crazy, and that's just no good. We can't run a country that way.
His father, Fred, was reportedly diagnosed with dementia in the early 90s and died of pneumonia and Alzheimer's in 1999. Okay, so but what, did he get that when he was 80?
Well, age 93, he died.
Okay, I guess Trump is 78. I guess that's a little older than I thought he was.
How old do you think he was, 50?
I thought he was more early 70s.
Yeah, he's late 70s. He's an old man. He's an old fart. Look at this picture of him. Look at this. Yeah. Look at that.
Aww.
He looks, he's like, so why is he taking a little nap during a meeting? Who cares? Trump was the oldest president to be inaugurated. What, really? Ever? He was older than Biden was?
Biden seemed a lot older.
Yeah, that's really... No, you shouldn't be proud of that. I was actually younger. No good. People are crazy. Mm-hmm. What do they want? Just let... I mean, look, and now people are saying... Because it's this other thing. What's this... Did we not talk about it? I think we left it out. But there was this whole... trade they do, right? The toad trade or whatever. Trump always chickens out or whatever it's called. Mm. You know what I'm talking about?
Toad trade.
Toad.
Oh.
Just listen when I say. Toad.
What's the toad trade?
I have it here. We didn't talk all of that. It's something called let's see. More about I love the idea. I pull up more papers. 1 second. It's the one thing that's not in here.
You mean the taco trade?
Taco, that's it. Taco. Did you know that before?
I love how comedy. Just listen to me. The president, taco trade. Trump always chickens. Oh, okay. It's an acronym.
Right, but I'm saying it has to do with the tariffs because look, there's tariff news. What do you want me to talk about though? Hey, he announced more tariffs. He took some tariffs away. This can't be news every week. This can't be something we have to discuss all the time. What's the tariffs are now just a weird it's the weather,
right?
I mean, the Federal Trade Commission made something where they outlawed his tariffs, but I'm sure the Supreme Court will shut that down in a week, mm-hmm. and then we'll see where we're at. I mean, he's already pulling the tariffs out. I don't know why people are poking the bear, by the way. And the bear is chaos in this case. People are like, well, his tariffs are illegal. How about you shut your mouth because you already kind of pulled them back. Now he's gonna double down, maybe. You know? Or maybe he goes, oh, the FTC. This really isn't out for him. He should use this. He might have asked for this to happen. You want my opinion? He went to the FTC, whoever runs that, and he said, hey, please make these illegal so I don't have to back down on all of them. The perfect exit. That's probably what's happening.
Right.
That's my prediction. Off the dome, as it were. Right?
That's right.
No one gives me any credit for how analytical I am. How much I analyze everything. They just say, look at you piece of garbage. Sick of it. What is this? Oh, but Trump always. How about the taco? Trump always what?
Trump,
chickens out. I can't
out.
spell. I mean, let's read some of this, I guess.
The term coined by a Financial Times columnist, which stands for Trump always chickens out, describes a pattern in which Trump announces heavy new tariffs, sending markets tumbling, and then later pauses or lightens them, causing markets to rebound.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you really want to get into, like, because again, they talk about, like, oh, he's corrupt. Was he the most corrupt? Was there another thing here? Is there something about how he's the most corrupt thing ever? Right?
Right.
One of these stories here, it doesn't matter. Golden age of corruption. Alleges historic self-enrichment. They focus on the plane and the hotels. How about the fact, you don't think someone's betting on this stuff for him? Goes up, goes down, goes up, goes down. Right?
Yeah, right. No, yeah, that's true. I mean, he knows what he's doing.
Well, maybe. I'm just saying, people. If you knew things were gonna go up and then go down and then go up and then go down, wouldn't you be able to make a little money?
Right.
I know I can make a little money. Tell me, get me in on this.
You think that is just the whole thing? It's just elaborate insider trading.
It'd be a lot more profitable than getting some plane from Qatar. Yes. I mean, yeah, he knows people with a lot of money. He's got a lot of money. I mean, I'm not saying he's investing it in Robinhood himself. It'd be funny if it was just his Robinhood account on his phone. He's just doing it. I mean, honestly, the guy is pretty brazen, and that's what I kind of like about him sometimes. And like, he might just, if you look at his phone, he's just pumping on Robinhood all day. But whatever. It's all a lot of chaos. What do you want from me? Paper. Texas governor to sign 10 Commandments bill. Greg Abbott's preparing. Oh, he's in a wheelchair, right?
Greg Abbott?
Yeah.
He is?
Isn't he? Am I wrong about that? I mean, I always forget he is. And then isn't he a paralyzed guy?
Oh, I guess he is. I never knew.
You never knew Greg Abbott was in a wheelchair?
Many Texans ask why Governor Greg Abbott is in a wheelchair.
No, I assumed he was paralyzed.
He's faking a disability.
Is it true?
I don't know. Greg Abbott, when he was 26 years old, decided to take a break from studying from the bar exam and go for a jog in a West Houston neighborhood, as he'd done many times before. Oh, this is a more elaborate story than I would have thought.
How about you got shot trying to steal a candy bar?
While out running, a large oak tree along his path cracked and fell on his back. I knew a guy that something similar happened to him. It sucks when a tree falls on you.
I think it's an experience, to be fair. I think it's the best thing that's ever happened to you.
I knew a guy, a tree branch fell on his head.
Yeah.
And it just, I mean, maybe he's better now, but like it just wrecked his brain. It's
an experience. You have to really calibrate yourself, and so does he. It's an experience. Mm-hmm. He wouldn't trade for anything.
I wouldn't trade that tree for anything.
So yeah, look, it doesn't really matter that he's in a wheelchair. You hear me?
Okay.
Doesn't matter.
Okay. Fine.
I brought it up. I did, but I'm admitting I brought it up in a very kind of like cheap shot kind of way. Or not, I didn't even mean it as an insult. It was more just like, oh, he's in a wheelchair, right? And we spent a lot more time on it than I realized we should have. So it's really not relevant to the story. Texas.
I wonder if he sees the oak tree as like a god thing. I wonder if he reasons it through religiously.
I think he sees whatever gets him elected. I'm sure he's got a lot of integrity. Texas Governor Greg Abbott is preparing to sign into law a controversial bill mandating the display of the 10 Commandments in all public school classrooms. restrictive legislation passed by a Republican majority legislature has sparked widespread legal and cultural debate. We have an article here?
Yeah.
Anything worth reading here? Let's see. ACLU's man. The ACLU, but yeah, look, I mean, the ACLU really is not the best source. They'll just defend, think of the worst thing that ever happened to a child, and they'll defend the guy doing it. I'm just saying, like, what
happened to when the ACLU? I feel like when I was growing up in the 90s,
yeah,
the ACLU were like the people. They were the people who just believed in the Bill of Rights and the Constitution.
But they were still defending the Klan back then.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like in the 90s, they were the people who cared about the Constitution so much that they were always defending KKK members and Nazis.
Right, but they did nothing about the Patriot Act.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's all scam. It's all lies.
They may have done a little bit of that.
The ACLU is garbage. I mean, the idea of it is nice, but all they do is go out of their way to defend the worst people. To just like, hey, like, because there's things in society, right? You have these rules, right? Mm-hmm. And then you have people who do terrible things, women and children, and horrible things, right? And you go, well, we can't. Like, we have these rules for a reason. And like these people, what they really are is a problem for the system, right? It's a bug, not a feature. I turned on its head there, see? Mm-hmm. But the ACLU acts like it's a feature, not a bug. They act like the whole point is to defend the worst people you could think of. They act like that's the reason.
Yeah.
Like that's the price you pay for freedom, and they act like that's the thing you get when you buy freedom. That's the problem with the ACLU. I'm just saying, like, and it sounds nice. It's like, well, if we don't defend this, then who's going to defend the rights? If we don't defend the worst people you could think of, the people who take the lives of children and steal women's virtue. See how I'm playing the game here? If you don't want to hear me play the game, sign for Patreon. If they take women's virtue, right? And they go like, well, this is if we don't defend these people, who's going to defend the old lady who like is in trouble? Like everyone. Everyone would, first of all.
Right.
That's covered. We don't need you for that.
They might actually be better able to defend her. Yeah.
One might think.
Yeah.
One might think that social justice would have a better shake in politics if it wasn't surrounded by people trying to defend the worst people you could think of. It's almost like they breed chaos on purpose. Wonder who runs the ACLU. Anyway, let's move on. I'm just saying. Governor Abbott is expected to sign the measure. I mean, look, it's not the worst thing, the Ten Commandments, right? Mm. It's not the worst thing. It's like, oh, we're not a Christian country or whatever. And it's like, oh, all right. Mm. It's just other religions.
Look, they are retroactively Christian, but they're not like innately Christian.
Yeah, I don't know why we always go with the. Why don't we just have a crucifix? Mm-hmm. I'd much rather have a crucifix, by the way. And you go, well, we're not a Christian country. I get it. I've always said that we don't have to be a Christian country. We're a freedom country, right? The Declaration of Independence, right, and the Bill of Rights. That's what this country's about. And but no one else really completely agrees with that. No one else seems to think that, do they? No one else is championing religious freedom. Mm-hmm. No one likes freedom except the people who try, so whatever. But that being said, I don't know, the whole worship no God but me thing. I mean, maybe we get a best three.
Yeah, just 3 of the 10 Commandments. The murder one.
Murder one. I may make and you call it the top 3 commandments. It's just because the other ones the 10 Commandments could use a little editing. It's like bring up the 10 Commandments. Let's see what they are. I feel like I know. I'd love to just have the Passion of the Christ. How about we just have 10 frames from the Passion of the Christ on every wall? We just got a Passion of the Christ poster with Mel Gibson's face on it in every classroom. All right, here we go. Let's read it.
Okay.
Number 1. Let's see. Number 1, you shall have no other gods before me. It just doesn't really. It just seems like for a thing in the classroom, it begs questions.
Right.
2, you shall not make idols. What does that even mean to people? I know what it means. It shouldn't be false idols, whatever. But it just seems like it's.
Also, kids be making idols all the time.
I guess maybe that's why you wanted to see this, but they don't even know how that translates to TikTok. They don't know. They don't understand that MrBeast is a false idol. MrBeast is a golden calf.
Well, why not just say, like, rather than just having them up there all the time?
Yeah.
Why not just say, like, you can teach? Like, I honestly would have no issue with just teaching the 10 Commandments because they are pretty foundational and like law in general.
Right.
Right. Like, teach them what they are.
Right.
Put
3,
it in context.
you shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain. I mean, they're all 4. Remember the Sabbath. I mean, keep it holy. That's the thing. You can't. I mean, it begs. Here's a problem. It's like Christians don't follow the Sabbath. The Sabbath is Saturday. Friday night is Saturday. I mean, you can say Sundays are Sabbath, but we don't really treat it like that.
Right.
And also, it's Sunday. I mean, honestly, I'd rather if we're gonna do the 10 Commandments in school, it should be number 4. Remember the Sabbath day, which is Sunday. Keep it holy. I'm fine with that, but let's just not get it twisted that like it doesn't really make sense to have these up. 5, honor your father and your mother. Hell no, not doing that. 6, you shouldn't murder. Fine, I'm cool with that. 7, you shouldn't commit adultery. I mean, I'm not going to, but. 8, you shouldn't steal. All right. I keep changing you shouldn't. You shall not. 9, you should not bear false witness against your neighbor. 10,
but
don't
replacing
covet.
shall not with should not makes these things much more wishy-washy, babe.
Look, the 10 Commandments, no one follows them. They're not American. And they're kind of like, it's just the weakest thing to put in schools. Like, if you want to have it, look, if you want to say, hey, we're standing up for our rights, we're going to fight a new crusade, cool, I'm down. But let's not get it twisted that the 10 Commandments does that. The 10 Commandments is a mushy little thing. And it's not really, and Jesus didn't really he didn't vibe with it. They're like, oh, what's the most important commandment? And he was like, oh, love each other. Which is basically him saying, go to hell. Like, get lost. Ask me some questions. You're trying to trap me in a question, Rabbi? Because the rabbi's asking him, wasn't it? All these important rabbis. Like, and they're like, hey, Rabbi. And as a dig, I think, at Jesus. And he's like, what's the most important commandment? And he's like, love each other. Which is the equivalent to me saying, go, get lost.
Yeah.
I know what you're doing. So whatever. Let's just do a crusade. If we're gonna do this. I don't want this wishy-washy crap.
A lot of these things like not super relevant to the classroom.
That's what I'm
too.
saying.
I mean, the Sermon on the Mount might be more relevant to the classroom.
The meek shall inherit the earth. Be not afraid. I go before you always. Come follow me, and I will give you grace.
It's beautiful.
Thank you. Thanks so much for tuning into the show.
Thank you.
A lot happened this week, and we covered it all. I think we did a great job. Remember, please subscribe to the show so that we can thrive. And you can thrive. This is the greatest thing that's ever happened to you. Also, patreon.com/RayComp. You get an extra episode every week for $5 a month. The episodes are crazy and uncensored. We do wild things. So, whatever. But, you can do that if you like. And if you don't, we still appreciate you being here. And thank you. And we'll see you next week. Have a great week.